Dave Nichols here. I wanted to pick up where I left off on biochar last week. I had a person ask me, they said they didn't really understand how to inoculate the biochar. So today, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go over inoculation, how you add either organic or synthetic fertilizers to your biochar. But that's our plans today. I've had to do it inside the shop because it snowed yesterday and it's cold and wet. Stay tuned. Well, hello weirdos, Dave Nichols here. Yeah, I guess we're all kind of weirdos. I feel like a weirdo today for sure. I'm going to finish up on what we were talking about when it comes to biochar. I'm going to try to really make you understand how it works. We'll get a little more technical today. All right. Took that bag of charcoal. Woo! Making a mess. I'm inside the shop. My wife won't appreciate this. I just won't tell her if you don't, so I'll keep us both out of trouble. I wanted to explain to you, and last week I talked to you about how that the forest burns, leaves charcoal laying behind after it burns. Then the soils and all the organics that are left over will actually penetrate inside of this charcoal. And that's all it is. This is just carbon. And I'm going to try to get up here where you can see it has a lot of cracks. See all the cracks and crevices all inside? I mean, we're talking thousands and thousands of little cracks in it. And you can see it. It's just charcoal, which is just carbon. When it's left behind in a forest after a fire, then all the organics then go into this. It ends up being like a sponge, and it takes all these minerals and things like that out of the soil and out of the organics or the leaves or whatever is decaying out there, and it puts it in these cracks. Now, to make you best understand, I'll do the best I can here. I'm going to bring an old wagon that's been in our family for a very long time over here where you can see it. My son was just a young baby boy when we got this old wagon, and it's still hanging around here in the family. But I'm going to get a little technical with you, and I want to show you a moisture meter. This is a moisture meter, and I use it in my business drying houses. And as you see here, it's picking up some moisture that was in the air because it's just wet in the office here. But see, you can see I've got blood in me, and you can see the reading there is 99%. So that means that this looks like I might be wet. But all wood has moisture content in it. I just took these are randomly sitting here in the office. This one here's got 21% in it. And it's treated, so it would automatically have more. That one there's got about 17% in it. But your charcoal is going to have very little moisture content. It's going to be very hard for me to do. It says 13.1. So 13% is all that's in this charcoal. So, in other words, it has no water in it. It has no moisture in it. And until you inoculate it, it won't have any moisture in it unless it's exposed to something that's wet. I'm going to turn this meter off because I want you to understand that regular wood has moisture content. It even pulls moisture out of the air or out of the floor or whatever. Where charcoal, when it goes through the procedure of being made into charcoal, it loses all of its moisture content because it gets rid of all of the gases that are in the wood. It's this wood right here. I mean, you want to get down to the theory behind it, it's the same thing. This can be made into charcoal. And what they do is they start burning this under hot fire, but they starve the oxygen, and when they starve the oxygen, it doesn't turn to ashes. And so, basically, what you're left with after you dry this piece of wood completely out and make charcoal out of it, all you're left with then is just carbon. And I see a lot of people break it off and eat it. I guess I could do it, but I don't want to have black all over my face and all that and whatever, so I'm not going to do that for you today. I know you want me to. I know how you folks are. You want me to do these weird things. But anyway, what I'm trying to tell you, this one here would have a lot of nutrition in it. But the problem is is getting it out of it. To get the nutrition out of this piece of wood here, it'd have to decay, plumb out, and go into compost. And that would take a long time for it to do that. But you take charcoal, which is made from that wood. I mean, it's basically the same. I don't know what wood species this is, and I think that's probably pecan here. But it doesn't really matter. Once this dries out, made into charcoal, it's still going to be the same. But what's so neat about this is like a sponge. And so whatever you add to this will be locked into all those little bitty grooves and things like that. So with that in theory here is when I put this in a big bucket like this, and I start adding ingredients to it, those ingredients will inoculate it into the biochar or the charcoal, and then that becomes biochar, and then it's also locked into the gardens and things like that. Now, someone was asking, well, what do you put in it? Well, you can put just about anything with the charcoal. Right here, I have some compost, and you can see it there. I made that myself. It took about a year. Well, it's not been quite a year. You can still see that there's some stuff in it that's not fully broke down, but you can see that is a compost, and it's well on its way to making compost. What I can do now is I can take this charcoal and I can add it into my compost, and what will happen is that the nutrition and organics that are in this compost will then get itself trapped into the biochar. So I can just mix them together, leave them alone for a while, put water in there, and all that nutrition that's in the compost then will share itself over into the charcoal. That's one way of doing it if you want to do it organically. Another way that you can do it organically is to buy products that are organic. See right here, this is just holly-tone. And to be honest with you, all it is poop. And that's all it is. It smells like poop, and it is poop. But you can see there, you could add, a product that's organic, and it says it here it's 100% organic. You can add it into this bucket and inoculate it that way. Or you can get like blood meal or bone meal. Here's bone meal right here. And basically all that is ground up bones. And, that's going to give you all kinds of, it's going to give you some nitrogen, I'm sorry. It's going to give you calcium, some phosphate, but not much, but it's mainly, calcium. And your plants need calcium. Or you can put blood meal. Blood meal is also an organic product that you can mix in there. And basically, it's just animal's blood. And I mean, it's what it looks like. Looks like animal's blood. Smells like it. But you mix it into that charcoal with water, and this will make its way into the cracks. You can see the blood. It'll make its way into the cracks and fill those crevices, and that product will be trapped inside that sponge. So, if you want to stay organic, that's something you can do. I just showed you, like I said, you can stay with the compost, or you can mix organic products in it and build it into the charcoal. I'm having a little bit of trouble today. I apologize. But getting back to it, it has to make its way into those cracks. Once you put this in water and you put all that nutrition in there, and it will actually work its way into that, it won't be dry anymore. It'll be wet. That product will stay wet or be wet. And all those ingredients will stay in there. So when you put this in your garden and you leave it in your garden, and I try to leave them as a whole piece if possible. I don't grind them up. I don't till them or anything like that. But when I leave it in the garden, then whatever the plant needs will make its way to that piece and pull that nutrition out. When it rains, some of the nutrition will come out of there because of, it'll solidify and go, the water will take it out, and you'll have a leaching possibility there to put it into the soil. But also it just holds it. There's so many cracks. I keep saying that. There's just so many things for that to get in. And all those cracks and crevices will hold the nutrition. I personally don't get wrapped up that much into organic versus synthetic. It doesn't bother me. I realize the nutrition is still the same. If people would look at it that way, it's still nitrogen is still nitrogen, and phosphorus is still phosphorus, and potassium still potassium, calcium still calcium. So if you look at it that way, you'll get a better understanding. When a man takes the product and he starts making it synthetic, he's just really making it to the point where that plant can receive it right away. Where if you go with the organic side of things, it has to break it down slow, and before the plant will actually get it to the point where it can be used. And by the way, when you do that, when you do go organic, a lot of times you're really helping the mycorrhizal and the microbes that are in the soil. But you can take a product like this. This is Miracle-Gro. Everybody knows about Miracle-Gro. Yes, man made that. Yes, I agree. It's not, organic as what people call it. But still, the same ingredients that are in this are in that. And if you can understand it from a chemical perspective, it'll make more sense. I can take this now, if I want to, and I can take some of it, open it up, and pour it in here. I just put as much as I want to. I can put it in there. And then I can take, if I want to, I can come over here and say, okay, I want to add some organics in there. And I can do that. I can do it however I want to. All I'm really trying to do is inoculate or put those ingredients inside that charcoal. I can take blood meal, put a little blood meal in if I want to, which that's going to give me high nitrogen. A whole lot of nitrogen is going to come out of the blood meal. I can put it in there. It doesn't really matter how you do it, or it really doesn't matter so much what you put in it. Now, of course, I'm talking about the garden world. You have to think about chemistry and what plants want. Here's the bone meal. You can take bone meal and put it in there. Put as much as you want. It doesn't really matter. It's just going to sit there in water and work its way in. Here's magnesium. Of course, your calcium and magnesium is what helps it draw it up into the plant. The nitrogens and the phosphorus and stuff like that will be drawn up into the plant. So this helps your plants as well. And I don't have it open, but you can put some of that in there. Iron is absolutely wonderful for a plant. And that helps the ground not get so locked up to the point where it won't allow the nitrogen to travel through to the plant. So iron is something very important in your gardens as well. Now, this could be a potted garden. It could be a potted plant. It could be, you could use this bio-char and potted plants. You can use it in raised gardens. You can put it in a real garden. You can put it in your landscaping. It doesn't matter. But this here is just iron. See, it's iron. You can see the iron. You can see it's iron. It's a lot of sulfur and iron. You can add that in there if you want to. See, I can add some of that in there. So anything I add to this carbon or this, well, it's not bio-char yet, but this carbon, whatever I add to it, will actually inoculate and go inside those cracks and create a biochar. And until moisture's put in there, it won't be a biochar, just be a piece of charcoal. So think of it that way. It's just a piece of charcoal, not going to do you any good in your garden unless you inoculate it. So that's very important. So I would put whatever ingredients I wanted in to inoculate. I'd put it in my bucket, and then I would fill it completely full of water, and I would let it sit for 2 or 3 months. If I started it now, I'd want to let it sit there till probably spring or somewhere around spring, and I'd take it out and I would let it dry out. And once it dried out, then I'd put it into my garden. So anyway, you can very much do that. Also, you can get products like this. This is a product that would scare most people plumb to death. And I don't know why, but again, we're talking about chemicals here. You got to think about chemistry. So, if you take this product right here, this is a DEF. It's a diesel exhaust fluid. And you read on here, you say, oh my God, Why would you ever put that in there? But if you read on it, you see here the ingredients of this is water. It's mostly water, 67.5%. And then there's the rest of it, 32%, 32.5 is urea. And urea is a fertilizer. Someone says, well, is urea urine? Well, urine has urea in it. And so someone says, well, can you use urine? Well, sure you can. Urine, I don't have the number sitting in front of me right now, but I think it's a very low percent. I want to say in human urine, it's only urea is in there. It's like 30% or 3%. I can't remember. It's really, really a low amount, and I apologize. I just don't have it in front of me. But mostly it's just water that comes out of our bodies, and the filtering system that it filters out your blood and things like that. But it's nothing that hurts you or hurts the plants. In fact, they like that kind of thing. So if you pee in that, that's no problem. You're just adding fertilizer to it. So, and again, if you add it to the carbon, and that's what that is, just charcoal, it's carbon. When you add it to it, then it's inoculated, and then it ends up in a sponge in your garden or your pots or your raised gardens or your landscaping or whatever. When I put this in a garden or a raised garden or anywhere, I will pull back my mulch. If I got mulch there, I pull it back, I throw it down, and I leave it in hunks. I like to leave it in hunks. I think it's important to leave it in hunks because then it's just sitting there giving away all those good nutrients that are there. And then you take compost and lay over the top of this, and now it just becomes soil. So they all kind of break down together. And by the way, it'll take a long time for that to fully break down because it's already, come to a point of being full of carbon. And by the way, we're carbon, if I don't know if you know that or not, but we are carbon-based, so good product. But anyway, it's just going to be a sponge. It's not going to add anything into your garden. It'll hurt your garden. It's the only thing it's going to give your garden is what you put in it. So that's how you inoculate. Again, you'd fill this full of water, add all these ingredients, let it sit there, and let it just sit there and absorb all this product. And usually it starts after a while. Carbon by nature gets rid of odor, so you don't smell the odor. But over a period of time, when it's really starting to get inoculated, you'll start getting a stink. When you start getting a heavy, heavy stink, then it's time to go ahead and pull it out and dry it out and then put it in your garden. So that's how I always look at it. If it's not stinking, to me it's not inoculated. I let it kind of, all the bacteria get going inside there and get them into the product. So that's how you inoculate biochar or make biochar from lumps of coal. So I hope I didn't confuse this too much today. My brain wasn't 100%, but it's just a matter of whatever you decide to put in it. Now, of course, you wouldn't put chemicals in it. You wouldn't put something that would kill the plants. You want to put nutrition that they need. And you've got to remember, folks, plants need all kinds of different nutritions. So even if you get into the micronutrients will help plants as well. See, we always talk about nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, and that's the main ingredients that they need. But there's other things like I told you before. This has got copper in it. This has got iron, boron, zinc, urea, potassium, sodium, which is salt. It's even got salt in it. Magnesium. I mean, it's got ammonia, which is a nitrogen. And by the way, urea, is a type of ammonia. Anyway, you have to decide what you're going to put into it. Once you do that, you'll have the product that you want. I don't know why people don't take the time to do this. I think it's just they don't understand it. But you're not going to hurt your garden. Whatever you put in there and it inoculates it, whatever gets inside of this charcoal, whatever gets inside of it, that is what it's going to give to the plants. You can see where I poured it on there. And, it's already kind of holding on to it. But if I put water to it, it's going to get itself inside that charcoal. So, anyway, whatever you put in, it's going to go in the ground and go to your plants. So that biochar, to me, is so important. Like I've said before, I make some to sell to people to give them a chance to try something very awesome. If they don't buy it, that's fine. I don't care about that. I really want to teach. So it's more important to me to have people see it work. So if you're at home and you can come up with these products, make up your own, let it sit till it starts smelling bad, fermenting, then take it, dry it out, put it in your garden. I appreciate you. I thank you for watching this crazy stuff, I tell you. Thank you for giving me your time. That's pretty special. And I hope I can give you more information as time goes on. Sometimes things are a little hard because I don't have a PhD degree. I'm just a regular old guy. So anyway, God bless you. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.